Jack Lisowski, who has the tournament high break so far of 1-4-3. Just a reminder that Aaron Hill against Lisowski will be on Discovery Plus Table 2. Against Ashley Carty is our other match this evening. First up, and then of course to follow Higgins and Hay, Jimmy Robertson and Jimmy White, the whirlwind. Liam Graham against Ben Mertens. Liam Graham, who got a walkover, of course, with Ronnie O'Sullivan's withdrawal yesterday morning. It's the best of 7, of course, a place in round 3 up for grabs.
Thank you. The first frame. Guoqiang to break.
And it's Guoqiang to get us underway. First meeting between this pair. And as we know, Neil, traditionally, players making that quantum leap from the amateur to the professional ranks often find it very difficult in their first season. But Hay has actually put together some very eye-catching results already.
Yes, he's beaten very seasoned players. He's up against the consummate pro tonight here in Scotland, so that would be, you know, a huge upgrade from anything he's played before. But you're right, you know, the likes of Kyron Wilson, who I watched him clear up to win that match earlier in the season against Kyron, which was the reason that Kyron didn't end up playing in Wuhan. That was in a qualified pre-stages actually played in China. But he looks very cool. And win, lose or draw, you know, it's a question of learning a lot from the likes of John Higgins tonight. Now his ranking of 78 is just a one-year ranking, so by the end of next season, he should have built sufficiently on that to hold a good position in the rankings.
One of those players who likes to wear a glove. Yes, he's also beaten the likes of Barry Hawkins this season, Ryan Day, both, of course, multiple ranking event winners. He's already made the quarterfinals of a ranking tournament. That was the British Open early season. He's beaten Hossein Vafai, so very assured start to his pro career. And if he were to beat Higgins this evening, and it's a big if, obviously, he would move into the top 32 on the one-year list with the World Grand Prix in mind. He's currently just outside, so that's just a measure of how well he's done so far. And Higgins, as he indicated to Alan just now, won't be taking anything for granted. But that's very well cued.
It is, and I think the black from quite low down there does go. This was a nice shot. We're right behind the line, and we saw how well, as you say, he cued it. The black, though, is opening a couple of reds up in the process. So this is a good start for Higgins. 2 good shots to get the frame and the reds around the black ball developed.
Higgins didn't drop a frame last night against Oliver Brown. The match really was defined by the opening frame when he needed a couple of snookers. Ended up getting a free ball and cleared up. And then really dictated the match from there. Played very solidly, not at his best, but you don't need to be in the early rounds. It's about coming through, finding some rhythm and form and building confidence as you go. And of course, Higgins has a good record in his home tournament. Twice he's been runner-up, albeit that when he
16.
lost to Bracel in the title match a couple of years ago, it was staged in Llandudno.
It seemed to just try and drift away to the right as we were watching there at the very last moment. John was confident. I'm sure this just sort of started to just go right there. Anyway, it did drop in. That's all that really matters. But it was, in the end, a struggle.
He's made a much better start to this season than he did last. It took him until the WST Classic to make a quarter-final in a ranking event last season. He's been in 3 semis already this season. Another one that didn't quite go in cleanly, but went in nonetheless. So he's fine as regards the one-year list at the moment.
24.
Currently in 13th spot. regarding the World Grand Prix. So he's fine for that, obviously, and looking good for the Players' Championship as well, and indeed the Tour Championship. But his official end-of-season ranking, slightly more precarious at 22 at the moment, provisionally, with points coming off and
25.
such like. So a bit of work to do in the second half of the season.
Yeah, I mean, he's suffering a little bit in the same way that Neil Robertson is, but Robertson in a worse position because those Players Series events, 32, 16 and 8-man events, he did well in those 2 years ago, not as well as Robertson, but was defeated in the final of the Tour. And those points will come off. But in the case of course, Neil Robertson, he's unlikely to even be in them this year to defend them, given his
32.
position on the one-year list. At least, as you say, Johnny's in there fighting to play in them, so he can get the points back, basically. And he's not there. And from an early stage, it was obvious he'd not quite hit it thin
Higgins,
enough
32.
to pot it.
Hay turned pro by winning the Asia Oceania Q School 2 event. And that's a lovely pot.
It's a beauty. Beautifully struck, not overhit. So, like I say, I have seen some of his wins. I know you mentioned a few, but a couple of those against Elliot Slesser, 2 wins. I think that's, you know, he's a hard player, Slesser. To have beaten him twice as well as all those other ones, you know, the signs are very good. But this is a different kind of test, I think. Televised match against John Higgins here in Scotland. Let's see how he fares. I think he'll fare well. Whether he wins,
7.
not so sure about that.
He's got a fine amateur pedigree. He won the World Under 18 Championship, I should say, beating Lai Pei Fan in the final. And in the World Under 21 Championship, he
8.
made a maximum break. That was back in 2018. He also beat Gary Wilson, who, of course, is the reigning champion here at the Scottish Open as a wildcard, 6-1 in that year
Low.
at the International Championship. So he's never been afraid.
Yeah, so there's a good flow to his cue action. The way he starts it, quite a flourish. There's good rhythm in there. The glove sometimes puts you off a little bit because I understand why players wear a glove. I mean, there's been players doing it off and on for many, many years. Aesthetically, it's not as pleasing, though, I think, when you see someone in a glove. But there's obviously reasons for it, presumably where he's been playing, doing a lot of his match play in China. Maybe humid conditions are the reason for that.
13.
So his chance has come, courtesy of that very good red to left corner.
One.
We've already
French
lost
two.
half the top 16 with the demise of Judd Trump this afternoon to another outstanding performance from Zhang Anda. O'Sullivan and Robertson didn't enter, of course, but 6 other players did from the elite and have fallen by the wayside already. We're still at the end of round 2. Ali Carter squeaked through again today against Ishprit Singh Chadha, 4-3. His second deciding frame win in this tournament already. Another member of the 16, of course.
I don't know if it's because of the sort of the time of the year for this event, right at the end of a long year of snooker. But don't forget last year, of course, we had Gary Wilson, Joe O'Connor, didn't we, at the end? And you know, they weren't the first names you'd think of to be in the final. So maybe we're going to see a similar outcome this time. Nice to see different faces doing well. Not saying it will definitely end that way, but it might.
Other results this afternoon. Tom Ford came from a couple of frames down to beat Liam Highfield, 4-2. And Martin O'Donnell beat Jamie Clark, 4-2. He'll now play Luca Brissell.
Well, the big shot next is you know, where the blue is. I mean, blue and pink should still go because where they've placed, they certainly should. You know, from the overhead, it looks a little tight, doesn't it? But into those 5 reds here. Oh, that's delightful. Could have done with being a little straighter, perhaps, on that bottom red.
43.
There's a lot of luck, really, in this shot, but I don't think he could have played it any better. He's just not quite straight enough to make this easy, the pot and position. Straight to it's an absolute formality. You know, I think he had more than one thing on his mind there, the pot and also that cue ball to be threaded back round the table.
43.
It's a little unlucky, I thought, with the split.
Yes, it was a nice break of 43 up to then, and happily for Hay, cue balls landed a bit awkwardly close to the side cushion. So this frame very much up for grabs, just 11 points between them. Everything is there for the taking for whoever gets in next. Challenge for Higgins right now, because his game is by and large in good shape, and he's had, as mentioned, plenty of deep runs, is converting one of those into another trophy. He's not won a ranking event since February 2021, so getting on for 3 years now, albeit that when he did win that title he was completely dominant, dropped only 4 frames in 4 matches, but that's quite a long time ago now for someone of Higgins' caliber. That is a fantastic pot.
Yeah, the cue ball was always heading back, but like you say, it's very clean. The likelihood now is, of course, he'll roll behind the colour. Yeah, it's how much into the centre of the pocket it went, which was impressive.
Rainbow.
And behind green. Because if you spent 4 days with us watching the shootout, you'll think, well, are you allowed to do that? Well, in conventional snooker, yes, but in the shootout, you would have had to hit a cushion there. It's funny, after 4 days, you start thinking along different lines sometimes. But of course, you can do it in this form of the game. Just drop up behind the colour, and it's left something of a problem here. All the reds out in open play. Not an easy escape, not taking long on it. Well, he's looking to glance it back up the table. Not sure which red he's trying to hit. Well, that was the problem. If he's playing to hit that red, the blue's in the way of the escape. So I didn't necessarily understand that shot. Hit the red thin on the top side, you go into the blue.
Shows the value of a good long pot, though. John Higgins only accrued 1 point from that previous visit, but it might just win him this frame. Set up this chance.
1.
Of course, 2 seasons ago, he made 5 finals and couldn't quite get over the line in any of them. 3 of them in the home nations and 2 of them from 2 up with 3 to play. So they were hurtful losses. 5 up with 6 to play in the Tour Championship against Robertson that season. Maybe something of a hangover from those close calls last season when he didn't do any better than the quarterfinals of a ranking
8.
event. But as mentioned, this season, he's been accruing points okay, but that's not really enough. He wants trophies, even at this stage of his career.
9.
And he'd love to win in front of his home crowd, of course.
Yeah, of course, when it was in Glasgow, originally the very first year, it looked like he might win it when he came up against Marco Fu in the final of the Scottish Open, the very first of the home nations events played there. But unfortunately came unstuck to a brilliant performance from the man from Hong Kong.
Who won 8
16.
frames in a row from 4-1 down after Higgins had made 3 centuries in the first 3 frames. It was an extraordinary final, really. But it's looking as though the
23.
snooker he laid is going to result in him clinching this frame. He's getting closer.
Yes, and as you've said, you know,
24.
because of the long red and the snooker, it all stemmed from that, really. He needs to get onto this yellow. I'll just play it simply, run it up and across off one cushion. Got to get the pace of these shots right, and he hasn't got the pace right. He's quite markedly overhit that.
31.
He's a bit lucky not to be snooker behind the brown. He's gone so far that he's even gone too far to snooker himself. Either way, he'll be disappointed there. I mean, that shot he's playing, where he's playing across the front of the yellow, the pace, you are sort of taking the risk that if you do miss hit it, you're never going to be on it. And second prize is what he's got, but Guoqiang has still got a chance in this frame. That's the main thing, is to get the object ball safe sometimes. He's done that.
Well, he didn't want the cannon. Now, can Higgins cut this yellow back in? He only needs yellow and green. Pretty thin.
It looks even thinner, doesn't it, from that angle? From the overhead, it looks like he's... I'm not sure which angle is telling the truth, but it looks like from there he can. The cue ball might be a little close to the top pocket, though, in cutting it thin. Yeah, he didn't think he could play it. He was in the best position to tell. But he's made a mess of the shot he has played.
He's going to need all 6 colours to pinch this frame.
That's a good shot, that. That's a very good shot. Might have been a gap through to the yellow, but if so, he's a little unlucky because he played it well. Very hard to think that, you know, a fairly inexperienced player is going to beat John Higgins at the end of a frame on the colours, perhaps. Of course, it's very possible, but more often than not, you'd like to think the experience will count for something. It's a difficult snooker to hit, doesn't it? I mean, one cushion probably is the only way, and sometimes one cushion escapes more difficult than playing off a couple of cushions.
Oh, the miss.
No good.
John Higgins, 4.
Yeah, it's going to go back. No pot for Higgins, so they'll be replaced. Desislava Vasilova, our referee this evening. Just a reminder that the match following this one, Matthew Stevens against Mark Selby, who didn't enter this tournament until he won it, and then won it 2 years running. Jimmy Robertson playing Jimmy White, Liam Graham playing Ben Mertens, all of that to come in the second half of the evening session.
Well, I think the balls are placed fairly close. He's got to go a bit further up the cushion here. He's played it better, but he's still in the lap of the gods as to where the balls finish. This worked in John's favour because he only wants yellow, and there's no real pressure now because green is tied up by brown. So even if he was to miss this, which I don't think he will, might not cost him.
So,
This is 27 now, one snooker.
Bristol.
Yes, it was the original failure to escape the snooker that meant Higgins only needed the yellow when previously he needed the green as well. Either way, red-hot favourite now to clinch the frame.
John Higgins, 2.
His opponent needing a snooker and in one.
Well, again, he's got to get past the black here. Like he could have stun it into the cushion, try and widen the angle, but not an easy shot. He's playing it just away. Well, he's got one back. Can you believe it? Funny old game. He's now... There's just a glimmer of hope for him in the frame all of a sudden, despite starting that shot in the snooker. That's a good shot as well. Slight concern here. If John's coming around 2 cushions, there's always the chance of the in-off to the right corner, even if you do make contact with the green. I think he played it cleverly, played 1 cushion, so he wouldn't have the in-off as a factor.
He still needs a snooker. 27 behind, 25 on.
Another good effort. I mean, he's coming into an angle that was hard to get the snooker, but he has made a good fist of a few of these shots to get the snooker and gain penalty points off someone like John Higgins. They're going to have to be good. Snookers you put him in.
Close. In. So it's now 2 snookers to tie for Hay of the 4-point variety.
Yeah, she's probably could have carried on where the blue and pink are. They're quite a big target in the middle of the table to get the ball behind, I suppose, although, you know, again, they're going to have to be pretty taxing snookers. Well, there's one of them. There's one of them. It surprised me that he missed it. So 1 to tie now. Surprised that John missed that. As I said before, though, sometimes 1 cushion snookers they're more difficult to hit than when you're playing off a couple of cushions. It's the way that the ball shapes around the angles, sometimes better with an extra cushion to hit. Again, this is a good effort. It's very good, although Higgins might be able to swirl through the gap, or playing out of the snooker cushion, off the right cushion, he might see it as a biggish target, this. But we've seen him miss 1 already. How about that?
Oh.
Bit of a collector's item.
Guoqiang 4.
Sort of inexperienced first season pro getting 2 snookers against John Higgins when needed, and now he can tie.
It was Higgins who needed a couple of snookers in the opening frame last night against Oliver Brown. Ended up getting a free ball and pinching the frame. Getting on for 29 minutes now, this one. Higgins had the chance to kill it off some time ago. Of course, he was looking to clear the colours and overcooked his positional shot on the yellow, which let Hay back in. Even so, Higgins has been firm favourite to win this frame. A bit less so now.
That is an incredible double kiss. That is unbelievable. What a little result that was. What's this? I mean, he got the double kiss. We call it dreaded double kiss, but it's dreaded for John Higgins, not Guoqiang. I mean, all of a sudden, John's in a spot of bother here. He can now tie, don't forget.
Well, this is harder to hit than the one he missed just now. Incredible.
What a frame this has turned into. Don't believe my eyes.
Incredible. Now suddenly, out of nowhere, Hay is the favourite to win the frame. I can't imagine Higgins has lost too many frames like this in his career so far, which now extends to in excess of 30 years. What a chance for a steal.
Get the feeling he's almost got to take these now. He's done something that very few players could have ever done to John Higgins. Now that he's put himself in the frame, he's got to go and win the frame.
Goodness me, after all of that. Now, where's the blue? Where's the blue? Second prize. Extraordinary frame. Higgins will be delighted to still be in it.
Well, I think he's left, believe it or not, a shot to nothing pop here. Now, I'm not saying for 1 second it's easy, but he may as well pop this, or try to, because he will be coming down the table towards the pink. And it's one of these, if you hit it too thin, it's even better, in a way, than hitting it towards the potting angle and missing it. Yeah. Well, it's okay. It's okay somehow. There's an odd end to the frame, isn't it, all of this?
It's turned into a bit of an epic and certainly an eventful frame. John Higgins looked a dead cert to win it. Suddenly, Hay had a great chance to pinch it, which he's missed, although in missing the blue, he snookered Higgins again. And now it's back in the balance. Surely not. Goodness me.
Well, another chance. Guoqiang has got to take this. He really has. It's not always easy right from in the jaws of the pocket, not to pot the ball, obviously, to get onto the next ball. This was never quite going to go in. Probably the frame didn't deserve that, it to end that way. Now, getting on the pink is not so easy as you think here. He's not done too badly. I know he's not on it very easily, but you can get trapped in that top corner of the table with topspin.
He needs the black as well, of course, so that's the positional element of this shot.
Well, the black for a remarkable frame win, and it's
11.
going to be a tough enough shot from there. To think that John Higgins was in such a strong position. 30 in front on the brown against the first season pro. And if he knocks this in, he's taken the frame off John. Incredible.
Very difficult pot. He's got it. What an extraordinary frame. John Higgins 3 times failed to get out of a snooker after his opponent needed 2 of them. And Guoqiang has taken the first frame against all the odds to lead Higgins 1-0. We've just seen a collector's item. John Higgins losing a frame when his opponent needed 2 snookers to tie. Higgins missing out of 3 snookers. And eventually it was a brilliant black, it must be said, to clinch a 34-minute frame from Guoqiang. Fantastic effort from him, and well, Higgins is way too experienced to be seriously rocked by that, you would think, but he'll be irritated for sure to lose a frame in that manner, because it's almost unprecedented for him to let a situation like that slip, Neil.
Amazing frame, and a couple of the snookers I felt he'd hit. One cushion up and down to hit the brown. Another one was a quite an outrageous fluke snooker, I have to say, but I thought his shot on the final black was a really good one. The final ball, which won him the frame, well cued. So great start for the underdog here.
So John Higgins trying to dust himself off after that dramatic opening frame, which he somehow failed to win. First to 4 to go through, of course. Winner to play Ricky Walden in the 3rd round. He beat Alex Ersenbacher earlier by 4 frames to 3 in the bottom half of the draw. Aaron Hill has taken the opening frame against Jack Lazowski. Ashley Carty has a 1-0 lead over Ryan Day. Both of those matches, of course, on Discovery Plus.
That's a good shot as well. The red was good, the black was as good. He knew he was going into reds unavoidably. A bit unlucky that the red has kind of followed the cue ball across to the left there, which means his cueing on this next shot could be better.
Nine. $16.
Guess Higgins was given a bit of a taste of his own medicine there. As mentioned, he turned around the first frame last night against Brown from 2 snookers required, helped by a free ball. Maybe just a bit of a wake-up call for him tonight. There was certainly some very nice snooker in that opening frame from
17.
the new professional. Got in initially after Higgins had missed with a brilliant long red and laid some good snookers.
Yeah, you mentioned that he's just outside the cutoff for the World Grand Prix, or he's just on the cusp, really, but he's actually been inside that 32 for the last few weeks, but his form has just tailed off a tiny bit because he was always in the 32. Of course, now is when you need to be in it at the end of this event, because the tournament is after the Masters, straight after. So this is the cut-off for it.
24.
There are German Masters qualifiers pre-Christmas as well, but of course that tournament is not played until further down the line, so that's a very separate thing. Got to be in the 32 at the end of this event.
Yes, it's going to be a real dogfight for those last couple of positions for the World Grand Prix, I think. He's certainly in the mix. If he wins tonight, he'll be back in the 32. He'll move up to 31st place ahead of Si Jiawei, and that would nudge Rob Milkins out, who's already lost to Mark Davis this week. Davis is another player in contention as Higgins continues with the break, looking to get that unusual reversal in frame one out of his system quickly. $80,000 to the winner this week and the equivalent points, so all things still possible for those left in. And that's another excellent pot from Higgins.
Two. Three. $40. $41.
Still on reds and blacks. The red up the table may be potable into the green pocket, top right, further down this break. Oh dear. Anything but the full ball kiss. You'd like to think that you can hit some of the red, not all of it. You hit it to the right, you can on both reds. To the left, the red and the pink. Either way, you get on something, but that is just the worst imaginable. Little nudge. Pity that. John was going nicely.
John Higgins, 48.
Not a bad table for a counter-attack either.
One.
Well, now we did wonder early on when Higgins was on reds and blacks whether the red by the brown goes. Clearly it does.
7.
Well, he's always got the reserve red to the left middle if he's not
11.
nicely on the red he wanted to be on, to the right corner. Yeah, this is still going quite well. Hey, Guoqiang.
Twelve.
Oh, goodness, he's miscued horribly.
Guoqiang, 12.
Horribly. I mean, he was playing a little soft screw to hold for red, and he hit the blue completely full on. I get a chance to see it again, but it was a bizarre miscue. Oh, it didn't look.
Oh, it's another cracking long red from Higgins. He's knocked in 3 perlers this evening. 3 out of 3.
Yeah, the cue ball came across the table nicely as well. Stayed down at the other end. So what a chance to win this frame, although we know that in frame 1 he kind of basically did win it and then somehow found a way to lose it. 2 snookers to tie. Turned around.
Five.
Lead is 41. The bottom red of the 3 will go from roughly where, if you put the cue ball where the blue is, be able to pop that bottom red to the right corner. But there's always the chance that in trying to play that shot, one of those colours, the blue or pink, might just get in the way of the red. An interesting red to play on this one with his lead.
7.
He didn't want to miss that one, but he didn't miss it, so I don't suppose it matters. This black, and it'll be one more red to follow it, and he's got himself back to level. Is he on the bottom red? He briefly appeared that he was, so it's 51 in it. And again, we're at frame ball.
Nicely done. Good response this from Higgins. It was a great red to get back in, but of course, hey, Guoqiang had the opportunity and then miscued on the blue when he certainly had a great chance to make big inroads into Higgins' lead. This frame well and truly over now.
21. Two.
Far less experienced and successful players than Higgins might have been shaken up by the circumstances in which he lost the first frame, as we see a replay, that unusual miscue. It's almost as though
30.
the tip of the cue just failed to grip the cue ball, like he didn't have any chalk on it. But either way, Higgins not phased for very long by losing the opening frame after his opponent needed 2 snookers to tie.
36.
He's just got back into the saddle and levelled the match with minimum of fuss. And it was a terrific
38.
long red that got him in to finish this frame off. What a pot this was.
It was. The cue ball zipped back as well. So we found ourselves at 1-1, but it doesn't tell the full story of how the frames have panned out.
The snooker has felt eventful today. That was certainly the case in the match we brought you earlier between James Cahill and Luca Brissell, who eventually won from 1 down with 2 to play. And these first 2 frames have been not without incident, but Higgins
50.
on the board convincingly in the end.
John Higgins, 50.
Breaks of 48 and 50. More than enough for John Higgins to equalise. So on the second evening here in Edinburgh, all to play for, it's 1 frame all. John Higgins losing an unusual first frame after his opponent needed a couple of snookers to tie, but Higgins restoring order by dominating the second, albeit that Hay did have a chance to get back into it, miscued on the blue. Higgins stepped in with a half century for 1 all. With Ricky Walden in round 3. And still to come this evening, Mark Selby, 4 times world champion, like Higgins, of course, and Matthew Stevens, twice Crucible runner-up, UK and Masters champion. The whirlwind Jimmy White is in action on table 2 later against Jimmy Robertson. And the man who got a walkover with Ronnie O'Sullivan's withdrawal, Liam Graham, plays Belgium's Ben Mertens. Jack Lazowski and Aaron Hill, 1 frame apiece. Likewise, Ryan Day and Ash Carty have shared the first 2 frames. Well, Higgins has been immaculate from long range this evening. That's 4 out of 4 now, and they've all been perfectly struck right in the middle of the pocket, pretty much.
Yeah, that'll do. That's very well played. Pushing that other red out of the way. This was a nice shot in keeping with the 1 or 2 others he's already played.
Maybe that first frame has just made Higgins a bit angry, and he's channeled that in a positive way. He's looked pretty bullish on the table since then.
That'll do. Nicely on the red with the angle to stay down on the black.
16. $70. 24.
I think it was just slightly distracted by some people just walking down the aisle there in the audience before that shot. So he took a while, took his eye off the table briefly.
Touched. Thirty-three.
Well, bottom red here through the bunch, staying on the black.
40. $41.
Cue ball a little heavy, but not bad.
About to attempt his 6 black.
I think I'm quite pleased with that shot. Again, top side of the red.
Higgins has only missed 4 balls this evening.
$56.
Play on the loose one. Yeah, I think he's come to the top of the ball, so not going into anything just yet. The right-hand red goes into the right corner from a straightish angle.
64.
Doesn't like it. He wanted to be straighter. Didn't really want to. It might turn out to be a blessing in disguise, I guess. If you can develop some reds. Well, he felt as if he couldn't stay on the black there. That's a disappointment to him and the people watching.
Yes, just for a while there, he might have been entertaining his thoughts of a 13th maximum break. Only O'Sullivan has more. Hang on, he's overcut the pink and he's not even won the frame yet. And I wonder if that was
65.
in...
Yeah, probably disappointed, but even then, more so that he missed that. It wasn't the most difficult shot that he's ever played, is it? And surprised he did miss it, really.
And nothing safe.
Yeah, well, he'll show his resilience if he can steal this frame as well. John, as I've seen a bit lately, looking quite deep in thought when things aren't going quite right. Mr. Higgins like pink there. I noticed at the UK Championship was beaten by Zhou Yulong and his performance dropped away a bit and he looked really disappointed. So very thoughtful. As if he's not really watching his opponent, more just thinking about frustration about his own game, I think. Oh, he'll be happier now he's seen that miss. That was a bad miss, really. Wasn't difficult at all.
Guoqiang, 9.
Not left an easy shot for John, but the pink was... I mean, he's right behind this. Never even really hit the jaw. Miles away.
56 the lead, 59 left, so Higgins only needs one more red to clinch the frame. That red remains elusive for now.
Well, Johnny's straight back to his chair, walking back in frustration. Is he given another chance here? It's remarkable how 1 minute you think he's going to make a 147. Now this is a second chance to take the frame. This is a great chance now. This is a terrific opportunity. Again, you'd fancy him for this. It is a thinnish pot, but one that he would have potted many thousands of times in his career.
Yeah, and he didn't need position. Could have just focused entirely on the pot, but it wasn't to be, and now it's down to Hay to make him pay for that.
6.
It's been another curious match, really, hasn't it? Unusual things happening.
Seven.
Two reds go to the left middle. Two reds go to the left middle. Well, he's not on them perfectly, but at least he's on them.
30.
Missable now from here. Well, his hopes of tying the frame are now vastly
21.
diminished. Difficult one there because he wanted to play on the black from it, so he had to get straightish on the red, or maybe get the cannon on the pink. Either way, that's the worst outcome. He needs a lot of luck here. I mean, he doesn't want to fluke the red because, I mean, I'm sure he wouldn't be on the black if he did. Goodness me, don't say he's got the snooker.
Guoqiang, 21.
I mean, he did ever so well to win the first frame, but he had a couple of pretty sizable slices of good luck in there. All of a sudden, I think he's got the fluke snooker here. Goodness me. And he tried to hit the red off one cushion, not two. Played that well, John Higgins.
Average frame time at the moment around the 25-minute mark. This one's been going 15 minutes so far. Higgins will feel he should have won it already. He remains the favourite to do so, but it's one of those days where you can expect the unexpected. As things stand, he can only tie it in any case. Off the final red, of course.
I think with John Higgins, he'd be more annoyed. He knows he should have won this frame about 10, 15 minutes ago when he was on the 147 attempt, which he had to go up for the pink and then promptly missed the pink. But, you know, the John Higgins at his best has already won this frame and is striding away in the match. Now he's just struggling to get home. Not sure if he's screwing to hit it directly or around off two cushions here. One of two. Oh, he's gone inside it.
Oh.
To the left of it. That seemed hard to comprehend that he would do that.
Well, one thing that has been on point this evening for Higgins is his long potting. 4 out of 4, all of which have been great pots. He needs a snooker in any case now to tie the frame. This for Higgins to win it.
Well, I don't know what's going to happen next. I mean, I don't know whether, I mean, he wouldn't even rule out a comeback in this frame either. Based on what we saw in the first frame.
Oh, John Higgins 4.
He's called a foul on himself. Free ball. End of frame.
Yeah, end of frame.
Another curious frame on this second day in Edinburgh, but John Higgins will be relieved to have eventually clinched it, as always looked likely. He leads Guoqiang 2-1. Now leading
John Higgins.
Guoqiang by 2 frames to 1. Not entirely convincing from Higgins so far this evening. There's been some excellent snooker, a few surprising errors, uncharacteristic mistakes, not least the first frame when he allowed his opponent back into it from needing 2 snookers to tie. And very nearly did likewise in the previous frame when he seemed to be in for a 147. Didn't get nicely on his red to continue staying on the black and then missed the pink. And you could see he was furious about that. But Hay could not take advantage of a couple of chances to turn the frame his way. So 2-1 Higgins. Ricky Walden awaiting the winner in round 3, the round of 32.
Well, unfortunately, he's left the red on. The red that he missed is the opposite corner. Here it is. He got fairly close to this, but the red's just come across to the other side of the table. Again, he looked a little bit disappointed during that last frame. I know he won it. He missed a couple of shots after the 65 break. And really, an opponent playing a bit better would have won the frame and certainly stolen it from him.
Over on Discovery Plus, it's now Aaron Hill 2, Jack Leslie Carty 2, Ryan Day 1. Mark Selby and Matthew Stevens to follow this match on table 1.
7.
Higgins is looking to recapture the killer instinct, which has been a feature of the lion's share of his career. Twice he's lost this season from 3 up with 4 to play to O'Sullivan in Shanghai and to Judd Trump at the English Open. He's lost a couple of other deciding frame matches. Searching for his first
22.
ranking title in 34 months.
Three.
Yes, and during that time there's been a number of near misses.
30.
I mean, not only in finals, but I mean that 9-4 up in the Tour Championship for the year before last to Neil Robertson. That was a crushing blow, lost 10-9. All his family were there, and they were hoping to have a great victory celebration, but it all ended in great disappointment. Being in the final didn't mean a great deal to John. His record, but there's been a few of those.
31.
That wasn't clean. He's kind of getting there, isn't he? But everywhere you look, you feel a mistake is not out of the question from John tonight. He's in front, and he looks like he could take a 3-1 lead, but as I said earlier, isn't telling the full story of the match.
$37. 38.
Certainly a nice split.
45.
Yes, at times Higgins has looked very sharp this evening. It's just been the odd aberration, which we're not used to, that has held him back a little, but he's 2-1 up with a chance to make it 2 up with 3 to play. His long game has been very good.
46.
Just the one miss. He's a bit annoyed with himself, though, at landing low on the blue. And he snookered himself on his intended red, so
51.
slightly trickier one with the rest by the look of it. Just one or two things happening to test Higgins' patience tonight.
I know, and of course his cue ball control has always been one of his great strengths. He's not really known as one of the great rest players in the game. he's not the worst, but occasionally misses one of some importance. Very surprised he never went for it, however. I thought he would at least go for that 51. One. Putting a red to the right cushion is not the worst move. But where he would normally win these frames in a single visit, he's not converting half-century breaks immediately. Pushing that red saves all very well, but chance to get the red back in play here. So Hay not out of this frame. Now with Guoqiang with a real queuing shot here. I'm sure it's the kind of shot that many a young player would practice. And he could play on the pink because it goes to the same pocket. I thought he might stun it in rather than roll it. It's not good because he left a red anyway.
Hay has yet to pot one from long range this evening, 0 from 3. So a chance for Higgins to clinch the frame. He's already 51 in front, though queuing is a bit awkward on that red. So looking at this one into the opposite centre, maybe. Maybe not. Can just about cue it okay. Very close to the black. He's not comfortable with it though, is he? He seems to be a bit in two minds at the moment, Higgins. Pretty close to clinching the frame, but not quite there.
But I always fancied that he would get that cut back. And he's had a favourable kiss for once, so I fancy pressing on here.
Five. Six. Eleven.
So Higgins only needs the pink. His opponent will need a snooker. He's just doing enough, Higgins, at the moment to be in control of this match. I think one or two of the mistakes he's made this evening will have irked him, but in these early rounds in the home nations, it's about getting the win.
90.
It is with John Higgins. I think he sets himself a very high sort of barrier sometimes, doesn't he, where how he's playing. And, you know, there's an argument he's not badly, just the odd shot, which I think he always judges it by
24.
the very best player he feels up tonight for his mistakes, he would have been punished more heavily than he has been.
25.
But 3-1 up, and the manner in which he lost the first frame when he was way in front on the brown, 2 snookers required to tie. So I suppose he'd be pleased with 3-1 up, we should be.
Yeah, because he could have lost the previous frame. He had a couple of chances to punish him.
32.
Missed frame ball after breaking down when he was
33.
potentially on a 147. Anyway, that's history now. He's going to be 3-1 up, and it's all to do for the rookie from China.
$39. 40.
It's been solid scoring this evening from Higgins. This is his third break in excess of 50. In fact, it'll be his fourth if he goes
45.
on to make a half century. As high as 65 in the third frame.
46. $50. $52.
Turns 49 next May. $55.
Mark
Williams has stated this week that his one remaining goal in the game is to be in the top 16 when he turns 50. I'm sure Higgins has similar ideas.
I think they've both kind of said that, haven't they? And certainly with Mark Williams winning the British Open earlier in the season, September.
64.
The likelihood is that he'll still will be in the 16 at 50 because he'll have plenty of points left. John probably as well.
70.
Whichever way you look at it, he's going okay tonight.
His highest break of the night. A nice 77 clearance from John Higgins. Guoqiang took on a long red, missed it. Higgins did the rest to lead 3 frames to 1.
Thank you.
Second evening of the Bet Victor Scottish Open, the 10th ranking event of the season. And Guoqiang has it all to do now. 3-1 adrift against John Higgins. He's had chances to certainly be level in this match. The first frame was really a bonus, winning it from meeting 2 snookers. Higgins eventually giving away 12 penalty points to that frame slip away, but he's won the next 3, including that nice clearance of 77 just now. So just one more frame required to set up a round of 32 meeting with Ricky Walden. Another one of the big names in the game. Jack Lazowski is in trouble. We've already lost half of the top 16 in this event. And Lazowski now trailing 3-1 to the Irish professional Aaron Hill. Hill, who beat Ronnie O'Sullivan in his debut season, made his first quarter-final this season in a ranking event. Just the 1/2 century in that match so far. And you can watch that on Discovery Plus. The other match ongoing at the moment, Ashley Carty 2-1 up on Ryan Day. Ben Mertens is leading Liam Graham, the man who got a walkover with O'Sullivan's withdrawal, 2-0.
He got that on the thin side. I think he was looking to get the cue ball back. May have been that he didn't really take the pot on, because it might have been crashing into reds. Played that well. Covered the red up with the yellow, and John acknowledges it, taps the table to say what a good safety shot he just witnessed. He might have left it in the one place that the red pops to the middle. Must be touch and go. He might be able to get to the potting angle. So that safety shot wasn't as good as the last one, because most areas down there, the red won't be pottable, but where it's finished, it is. Yeah, that's an error. Well, he'd be really annoyed to finish there. He's finished absolutely nowhere. And you can sense the frustration from that last shot when he knows that of all the places to land, that was not it.
It's a good recovery pot from Higgins. Very thin cut. He had to hit it perfectly for it to drop, which it did. Now, can he get himself on his next red off this yellow? Yeah, it always looked a little wide. It's been an in and out sort of performance from Higgins. At times he's looked fluent, at other times he's made mistakes. Positionally, he wouldn't normally.
One.
once again, I'm not sure what's available down that side, down that channel. So the red with the rest down the cushion. It's a very awkward looking table where the reds are. Oh, he hit that beautifully. I mean, if anything, much too well. People absolutely roared back down the table.
4.
He made a better shot struck with the rest than this one. Look at the cue ball. It's flown.
Guoqiang 4.
Hayes' main problem this evening has been his inability to make anything really substantial when he's had chances. His highest break remains just 43 in the opening frame, and that really wasn't the reason he won the frame. It was the fact that Higgins missed out of 3 snookers at the end of it. Looks like he might get another chance here.
Tough red this, long way away from it. Dangerous once you see that cue ball hurtling towards the bunch. I think red to right middle, followed by pink to left middle, is where John Higgins is going to go with here. And that might just give him the chance to get this match put away.
One. Seven. Eight.
Black out of commission, but that won't trouble Higgins overly here. He's got enough open reds, pink available to get very close to clinching this frame, if not actually doing so, and with it the match. certainly done by far and away the lion's share of the scoring. He's outscoring his opponent more than 3-1. Series of mid-range breaks, 48, 50, 65, 51, the 77 clearance at the end of the previous frame. And as mentioned, just that one break of any substance from Hay in the first frame, a 43.
Well, the numbers are there, as you've explained. If I know John at all, I don't think he'll be that thrilled with how he's played. He's played okay, but he's kind of let his opponent back into frames on more than one occasion, when really, in the past, he would not have allowed that to happen. He's not won yet, but he might get to hear afterwards
19.
how he does view it. Anyway, he hasn't won yet. He still got more to do. There's not a real sign of a massive cutting edge in his game, but he hasn't been poor either. He's doing what he's been doing for years, getting matches won.
Fine, 21. Fine, 22.
Well, the black is tied up, and I can't see him getting it back into play. But I don't suppose he's that concerned now, because there's 4 reds in open play that he could probably take with the pink, at which point he'll be a long way in front in the frame.
26.
Purposely held the spot, which takes it up onto the blue, the highest available here.
32.
Straight, or if not, very, very slight angle. Yeah, you can see where he's putting his cue. There's a very slight angle, but he has to force it to make that angle anything.
Lead goes to 41, 59 remaining. So 2 more reds and Higgins will have won this match. No, he's overcut it. So, yeah. I think that's been building up over the evening. Higgins is just not happy with the way he's not killing off frames. He's on top in this match. He's likely to win this match, but it's the way that he wants to win it, and it's not happening for him. And that's very rare to see Higgins react in that way, but you feel as though it's been building up ever since he lost the first frame, when his opponent needed a couple of snookers.
And when he banged his cue, there echoed all around the building, didn't it? It was a proper banging of the cue. To hold back in any way. So, not exactly position A with the cue ball here. What a tough shot this is. Ah, that's fantastic. Absolute blinder. The match was over had he missed it. That was a terrific shot. In contrast to John's last.
3.
This is lovely striking. I mean, look where he is. John's not very happy, but he might have, somewhere in him, been in admiration of that pot.
4.
And we know that he's not happy, because we've just seen it with our own eyes and heard it with our own ears, the noise it made. Yeah. He still cares, doesn't he? And I think Philip summed it up. He's not putting frames away in the way he would hope to. The blue, I mean, of all the things you might have thought would have happened there, I don't think the blue going into the top right pocket was ever on the list. He's just sort of given way a bit. He's played a few good shots like that yellow, but having stolen the first frame, he's not built on it at all.
5.
No, he's had chances. Hasn't really made anything of substance from them.
Well, it's a 6-point penalty.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
It's a 6-point penalty, not a 5-point penalty. Yes, the blue went in, but the pink was the ball on, so Desislava had got that wrong. She was corrected by John Higgins.
This is match ball. He's missed it. John Higgins limping over the line here. He's got Guoqiang snookered.
I know. Going this way, the problem is he's not likely to pot it, so well, not so obviously going to pot it. He'd have to hit the edge of the red. Well, he's double kissed it in anyway, but I think if he'd have gone up and down the table, he would have been potting it directly. Either way, he's going to have to pot a colour, isn't he? How many in it? 37. It's sort of a scruffy old end to the match, really, isn't it? If it is going to be the end. John Higgins enraged by missing a ball, banging the cue. Guoqiang having a slash at the pink, knocking the blue in. Anyway, he's got a snooker, but he's got to hope that John misses it. I think that something's gone wrong with the scores. I don't know quite what's happened. Chang.
Very good hit from Higgins.
There seemed to be some confusion with that penalty, didn't there? And I don't know if that's sent the scoreboard into meltdown. But he played the pink, missed it, and knocked the blue in. And it's a 6-point penalty, not 5.
Well, if this red goes in, this match is definitely done and dusted. It probably is anyway, but this will kill it for sure. And it does go in. And in truth, although he's had a very promising start to his pro career, Guoqiang hasn't really been able to apply any pressure this evening to John Higgins since winning the opening frame in very unlikely circumstances from Snooker's Required. Higgins clearly not thrilled with his level this evening, but he's won. And you can only improve if you're still in, and he is.
7.
Equally, he'll know he's going to have to raise his game when he plays Ricky Walden in round 3.
John Higgins, 7. Frame 9.
There's the handshake. John Higgins, twice Scottish Open finalist, has booked a place in round 3. Room for improvement, I'm sure he would agree with that. But he's won with some comfort. Nevertheless, even though his A game has been AWOL, he wins by 4 frames to 1.